Hello and welcome to the Maryland Distillers Guild's Thirsty Thursday. And we are once again joined by a wonderful guest. We've got someone special. It's someone who's not only starting up a distillery, but has a big night tonight. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. I want to introduce Jennifer Yang from Covalent. Am I saying that right? Covalent. I mean, that's what, okay. We were arguing about that. So Covalent Distilling in Westminster. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So first, tell us what's happening tonight.
So in Carroll County, there is something called the Carroll Biz Challenge, and it is their Shark Tank meets American Idol business challenge for people starting up companies here in Carroll County. And it is an application process, and then they down selected to 5 finalists, and the 5 finalists get to pitch live to a panel of 4 judges, like Shark Tank. And it's a 5-minute pitch and then 7-minute Q&A. And that night they pick a winner to win a cash prize and then other prizes in the goods and services. And there's also a People's Choice Award. This is the American Idol part, where people can call in or actually text in their vote, but lines don't open until the last pitch is done. So it gets people to watch all of it and then text in a vote for their favorite business to win $1,000 cash prize. So that is tonight. It starts at 6 p.m. If people want to watch, they can watch it on the Carroll Biz Challenge website, and anybody can watch, anybody can vote. That's big for us tonight.
Yeah, it's huge, and I've seen details on Facebook, so I know you can get online and get on there. I think it's cool that they're doing it live and virtual. When I've been participating in these before, when we've had wineries and breweries up, it was always in person, and that was the only way you could join. And I think this is great. So I actually probably can get a lot more folks involved. So best wishes on
Thank
that.
you very much. Thank you.
It's a 5-minute pitch.
5-minute pitch. It's hard to keep everything in under 5 minutes because you don't know what the judges want to hear and what's important. So we're taking a little bit of a guess at what to talk about.
So America's Got Talent combined right here. I mean, you got stunts and slides and other things.
We have demo. Animals. Yes, it's Shark Tank meets American Idol meets America's Got Talent, right? I mean, it's all the things kind of combined. It is going to be kind of weird talking to a blank or no audience, really. So we'll be there in person. Well, we'll be there in person, actually. All the presenters and the production crew will be there in person, the judges at the Carroll Arts Center in Westminster, Maryland. But everybody, there's no live audience. Everybody's going to be tuning in via either through Comcast or through their website. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, regardless if we win or not, it's been a great PR, great marketing to get people to know about us and everything. And so that's been pretty nice. So that's been a huge perk. Yeah,
you did get some nice exposure. I saw a quick article in the Baltimore Sun, and I know the local newspaper, Carroll County Times, has mentioned it. So yes. It's good. Yeah, win, lose, or draw, you're making a name early on. So tell us about what got you interested, and then I want to ask you about the space that you're going to be in. But what got you into wanting to open up a distillery, and in Westminster, a place that many years ago had distilleries?
That's right. Very few people know that, actually. So I guess my journey started 8 years ago or so, 5-8 years ago. I'm a big whiskey drinker, and as I got more and more into whiskey, learned more about craft whiskeys and other craft spirits, it is something that I was kind of really always intrigued me, and something that I thought one day, do I want to do that too? So I guess opening a distillery was kind of a convergence of many things. I studied biology and chemistry when I was in college, so I'm a bit of a science geek. So I love the science side of it. I have a side business where I do events and private chefing and everything. So I love being creative and creating recipes and create different flavors, especially personalized flavors. And then I love the hospitality side. So all of that kind of came together. And about 5 years ago, I thought to myself, I would love to do it myself, and why not? And there's always a reason or excuse or a barrier. I was living in the DC area at the time, and it was a little challenging given where I was living, and then more and more popping up in DC. And so I don't know. And I'll admit, I was a little chicken, a little bit scared. And then I moved to Westminster about a year and a half ago, and noticed that there used to be a distillery here. There isn't a distillery within a 20-minute drive. The nearest ones in Carroll County are a 25, 30-minute drive. And running out of excuses. I thought it's time to put up or shut up, as they say. So it's time to kind of just take a jump and go do it.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it. And it's funny, how many years have I driven through Westminster, and then one day I turned my head up and I saw on the side of the building the distillery sign paint, the old lettering on the wall.
That's
And
right.
I mean, yeah, just it's incredible. And it's a huge building, and you can see their boiler tank, their smokestack and everything else. So it's all over Maryland. This is a kind of a historic business, and it's great to see it coming back, distillery by distillery.
Yes, and that is one of the things we're going to actually talk about today. We actually open with that concept, and
Great.
It is a lot of people who lived here for their whole life had no idea, or don't even know, or don't even realize that. But yeah, that Sherwood, like the smokestack there, and if you drive right by it, it says Sherwood Rye Distilling, and that was here for many decades. And there's a road called Distillery Road.
Yep.
There's one here.
Sherwood was one of the historic popular brands. Sherwood Rye. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's now. Will you be bringing back a rye?
I would like to. I like to bring back a rye. I like to play with some bourbon, play with some other whiskey ideas. Of course, it's going to take some time, but we would love to. I mean, if I could find the old formula for it, then we'll definitely see if we can.
Somebody has it. Well. Somebody has it. So, what do you drink? Like, what are you excited about trying to replicate?
I'm excited. Oh, that's a hard question. A couple of different things. I'm very, very excited about replicating different kinds of whiskeys. I'm a big bourbon drinker. I'm a big Covalent drinker from a Taiwanese single malt perspective. But I definitely want to kind of play around with that. I also love barrel finished gins, and I really want to do something with that. One thing we want Covalent. So Covalent Spirits is based on a chemistry term, right? Covalent bonds.
Yep.
And covalent means kind of forming bonds through sharing. And that is kind of the essence behind our distillery. We want people to form new connections and form new bonds through something shared. And one of those things could be a drink. And so we also want to have play around with different things and do something a little bit different. So I've been playing around with things in my kitchen, and one of the things we're actually going to be kind of showing off tonight. It is not a product from Covalent Spirits, because we're not allowed to make anything just yet. It is something that me, Jen, doctor up in my kitchen that I can show as an example of something. Right. But we have a pink gin that we're going to do a little cocktail with, and why not? Why not be pink or be purple or be green or be orange or whatever it might be?
You have blue gins, and it makes a lot of sense.
So play around with something, and then play on different ideas and everything too. There is one type of gin that I really want to kind of try to replicate or play off of. Is a Jennifer style gin, and so you're right. Jennifer wants to make Jennifer style gin. So and that is something I don't see very often. And it's a Dutch style, right? A Dutch style juniper based spirit, and they don't call it a gin, but it's a juniper based spirit. But its starting product's actually from malt mash. So it starts out like a whiskey, and then it ends up being a gin. And then why don't we barrel age that a little bit, right? So different things like that. That's one thing I'm really excited about playing around with too. Things a little bit different than what we normally drink and consume over here.
So you've been hanging around the industry for a little bit. Tell us where you've I guess had some experiences and
Sure.
Yeah.
So I started a tasting club in the DC area back in 2013, and it's any kind of food tasting, wine tasting, whiskey tasting. And then in 2015, we branched off and created Whiskey Labs. And Whiskey Labs was all about experimenting and tasting whiskeys and learning about them and such. So I had been researching the industry for a very long time from that perspective. And then over the last couple of years, I've been fortunate enough to help out a couple of distilleries in the area, take some classes through ADI, and then the next couple of months queued up a few other opportunities to kind of shadow some more and get more hands-on. So we'll see. I think this is one of the things where you will be continuously learning, and there's no way to learn everything all at once. But this is also where I can tell my mom and dad that I'm finally using my college degree. after 20 some odd years. So brushing out my biology and chemistry background is gonna be kind of fun.
So it has come to this, huh?
My parents don't really understand what my day job is, even to this day. I'm a management IT consultant by
Okay.
my day job, and my mom and dad never quite fully understood what I do all the time. But this they understand.
Do
And I
they
mentioned
do they drink spirits?
they do, and one of the things is that one of the things that's pretty cool, and this is another thing that I want to replicate and make is actually play around with some old Chinese baijiu recipes.
Ooh, great.
And I would love, 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 love to make baijiu, and I think that actually could qualify as a whiskey by U.S. definition standards. It is something that is one of the, I guess, the highest volume drank spirit, but partly because China is so big and
Right.
baijiu is like the national spirit over there. It is I think only one distillery in the U.S. out in Portland that makes baijiu, and it's a sorghum based sort of kind of whiskey in a loosely put terms, but the distillation and the fermentation process is a little bit different than what we're used to. So I grew up thinking, my mom's always told me the story about my grandfather, and my grandfather, and in Chinese, she would always say how they would make wine. And so I thought they were winemakers and vineyards, but they were in northern China. I'm not sure how the weather worked for that, but okay, and then
Right.
it wasn't until recently that we talked more about it. And my mom goes, Grandpa didn't make wine. I go, he didn't? Yeah, I always thought you said wine. And she goes, no. So my grandfather's family apparently were distillers in China.
Wine.
Yes, they were distillers in China, and their farm, their plantation grew all the sorghum and everything else they needed to make it. And apparently, as my grandfather was growing up, would travel with his father to deliver and sell and all over northern China their spirit. And unfortunately, my grandfather's passed away. In his memoirs, he wrote about these experiences, but I wish I got more information about the family recipe that they had back then. So we're doing some research to see if we can find it or anything. But that's also something that we would love to make and have and do. And that's a nod back to my grandparents and stuff like that. So it feels so all this stuff kind of comes together. It feels like the right time and place to do this.
I've talked with folks recently about growing sorghum, and I've seen it starting to show up as part of a crop rotation, which is very cool. So maybe there's some local sorghum.
I hope so. I would love to, obviously work within local as much as possible. The one beautiful thing about Carroll County is the access to all different kinds of farms and everything. And so I would love to be able to do that and really kind of help other companies as well, and be a win-win situation for all of us, and do that. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Lots of different ideas. In a way, it's kind of like the mad scientist in her lab, and that's kind of that might be
using that career, using that education.
That's right. That's right.
Who knew that you went to school to make spirits?
I know. I mean, had I known this 20 years ago, I'd be so much further in my career right now in this industry.
Could have saved some time and money too, I'm sure.
I totally could have. That's right. Although I tell my parents that I graduated from MIT to go make alcohol. They'd be like, "What?"
My guess is there are a lot of people who graduated from MIT making alcohol in the country. My guess.
Well, there is the alcohol from the large manufacturing kind of industrial side. Yes.
Yeah.
But actually, I've only found 2 alums who are currently in the spirits distilling industry.
Really?
Mm-hmm. One in Australia, and Templeton, actually, Templeton Rye.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's a business school alum from MIT, and then there's a gentleman out in Australia who also started his distillery. But those only 2 I found. It's I'm doing keyword searches in the alumni database. You get a little bit creative, so there might be more than 2, but that's the only ones that I found so far.
LinkedIn has failed you so far. Okay, well, so tell us a little bit about the space. So Westminster,
Yes,
great Main Street, love it. So tell us about the space. What are you planning?
Let's see. It's going to be. Let's see. I have some pictures. Should I share my screen and show you some pictures? Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up a particular slide from our deck. and do
Don't
that.
give away too much.
I know. Our competition might be watching. No, I'm kidding. So let's see. All right, let me share my screen and do a little bit. Let's see. All righty, I'm going to share. All right. Let's see. Select window or screen. For some reason, it is. All right, there we go. Slowly thinking. Okay.
Getting thirsty just thinking about it.
I know. All righty, so let me pull this slide up. I don't know why it's technically really slow right now.
Oh, I see something right there. Let me pull that up. No, it looks like you're giving away. It looks like you're giving it away here. Come on. So this is your slide.
Oh.
This is your slide deck.
It is my slide deck. I'm just showing my last slide, which there we go. Do you see a picture of an old garage?
No.
Did that come up?
Is that the grand opening?
The coming soon. It should be a picture of the old garage.
Yep.
Coming through. Okay.
Yep.
That's the space.
Oh, so that's actually a big space.
Yeah, the right side is about 2,000 square feet. The left side is just under 2,000.
Okay. And that looks like a fairly grand entryway right in the middle. Is that that's the entrance?
It's actually a driveway to go to the back to the parking lot.
Is it really?
So, it is. It is. So we are actually looking at. So as you can probably tell, there's actually space for patio up front as well. Okay. And because the sidewalk is that light cement color and the dark color would be a place for a patio. So we're thinking about some outdoor seating, and we might possibly close off that middle a little bit and create more patio seating there, because you can go around the block to get to our parking lot if you really want to park in our lot. So that's a possibility, and you kind of create more outdoor space for our customers. But the idea is this, and then if you hold on one second, we want to turn it into this. Do you see the next picture?
I do not. It looks we're still in the coming soon.
Just click down to it, so it should show up.
Well, while we're waiting for it to refresh, I should ask, has COVID changed your plans in terms of the layout and accommodating the public?
It hasn't changed our plans too much. We've always wanted to have outdoor seating and things on those lines. What it will do is make us a little bit, it'll give us more to consider as we set up our operations. So for us, because we're so new, we have the benefit of being able to kind of set up our business model to accommodate for that kind of situation, or some hybrid or whatever it might be. So we're definitely keeping in our mind, we're being optimistic that by next year, things will be hopefully very close to back to normal. But if not, we will have some things in place that will work for our business in terms of outdoor seating and in terms of how we set up our technology infrastructure and all those things too. And one thing about our tasting room that we or hope to do is that we are trying to make this also into a space that's great for private events and 20 to 30 people. Right now, there's very few places to go to have a small gathering and just for you. So in this case, in a way, if you have to have if you're limited to a small gathering, if you want to have a little of a celebration and you are with people like family and close friends who you trust to be close to, there really are not a place to go to do that even right now. So in a way, our tasting room can be a place where you can have your own, your own private lounge for a few hours, and we do all the work. So
what are you guessing the capacity will be?
The capacity will be probably inside, I would say maybe 30, 40.
Okay. Okay.
If we count our outside seating, might add another 20 or so. So, yeah. Did the picture come up?
It didn't, and I pulled it off the screen because it looked like it was
Okay.
stuck on that same
Okay.
page. But feel free if you want to tinker around and see if we can still get that up. Maybe unshare and then
Not quite sure
reshare
why.
that particular page.
Yeah. Well, then people got to tune in instead to see
Yeah,
it.
they'll tune in and as long as they promise to vote.
That's
They
right.
have to
Oh,
vote.
vote for us. They
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
vote for us.
yeah.
So,
We've
okay, sorry.
got a comment here. A beautiful space with so much potential. This is from Ashley, who's
Oh, hi,
a
Ashley.
member
Yes.
of the industry. Yeah, good friend of the industry, and doing great things in the industry. And then we've got a comment here from Jana. A question. Talk a little bit
Okay.
about the cocktails you're envisioning.
Sure. So we want to create some cocktails that have a little nod to chemistry, right? So I think we can all use a little more chemistry in our lives, make it spice things up a little bit. So we want to kind of play around with different concoctions and everything and different concepts. So whether it be to create cocktails that are a little bit not the norm. And once again, once we get through all of the other licenses and health codes and all that stuff too, we'll see what's actually allowed. But play with some, they call it not molecular gastronomy, but mixology gastronomy type of stuff. And I want to play around with those kind of concepts. So using some chemistry to create some cocktail creations that are a little bit different than your normal drink cocktail.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good. Well, I mean, you should corner the market on chemistry. That's
Yeah,
your
so
thing.
it's our thing. So creating a cocktail that actually has this shape like a bubble and you burst in your mouth versus you just drinking it. Play with liquid nitrogen a little bit. Play with some different like densities of liquid and how it separates and everything. We'll see. And if people learn a little more about chemistry along the way, then great.
You do need kind of a chemistry club. People who are really jazzed about it. They get the insider tour, get to try all that very, very cool stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of support have you been getting from Carroll County, Westminster? Are you getting the sense that they're interested in having you in town?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We've been getting some great support. The town of Westminster has been very, very supportive. We've been talking since February, and because I wanted to know from a zoning and water allocation, because water allocation is a big hurdle for a lot of businesses here in Westminster. I want to make sure that there aren't going to be big roadblocks. I wasn't going to go down this path if there are non-starters really. And speaking with the mayor and some council people and the city, the director of planning, community planning, everybody's very supportive and very, very helpful to help us get through the zoning, get through water allocation. And so far, no one has said anything to make me feel like there's going to be a showstopper.
Good.
So, so that has been wonderful. And I think that a lot of the local folks here want to see more stuff on Main Street, so to speak, and kind of keep the money here versus folks going to Frederick or going to Baltimore or go other places and come here and do that instead. That's why we're also focused on the hospitality side. So not just distilling, manufacturing. We actually want to have a place where people want to come and gather and have some fun events and do something unique and partner with a local restaurant or a food truck, obviously, to provide food. Partner with the local running club and do a running thing and end up at our distillery or the cycling. There's a race paces here in Westminster too. Go out for a long ride. There's some beautiful country roads here for cycling, and go out for a long ride and then come back and do a boozy brunch with us kind of thing. So there are lots of different things we can do and kind of create some new experiences for folks here. And that's one of the things that we're focused on is the customer experience. A lot of market research data has shown that people are willing to spend more money on experiences than on things. And they want to learn, they want to laugh, they want to try something different. And that's what we want to bring to Westminster. So not just the manufacturing side, but also the experience side and give people a completely different kind of vibe. So far, we've been getting a lot of support from even the local business owners here too. Everybody seems very excited about
Oh,
it.
I would imagine they're thrilled to have you in town.
So we want to be, the way we kind of say we want to be, another anchor on Main Street, because we are actually, if you know Westminster, there's where the railroad tracks are, and
Yep.
lots of little restaurants and bars and stuff right around there. But then if you go up a few blocks, there isn't as much. And so our location would be up a couple blocks from the where the railroad tracks are in the main center of town, but it's still walking distance. It's like I said, we're talking about 2 blocks, maybe 3
Right.
blocks. And so the idea would be, if we are there, that could create another anchor. It could elongate what Main Street has to offer. Maybe other businesses would pop up in between, give more people a reason to stay and hang out longer and eat here or shop here or do other things here in Westminster. That's our hope.
We have a question from Abby. She can't wait to visit. Why did you pick Westminster?
Well, so I mentioned earlier, I lived in the DC area for over 20 years. I moved to Westminster a couple years ago, and the joke that we have is that I moved here for love. So my fiance lives here in Westminster. He's been a Carroll County resident for over 20 years. And when it came down to eventually figure out how we consolidate houses and everything, his place won over my place in McLean. So sold my place, moved up here. And so partly because we live here in Westminster. We live in downtown Westminster. And I've always loved towns with that Main Street vibe, with local shops and local restaurants and local everything. And Westminster has that, but I think it could have more. And I think that I saw an opportunity for that. And because there used to be a distillery here in Westminster. So Westminster used to have distilling up until about the 1960s or so. And there's a huge building that even says Sherwood Rye Distilling on the side, and a big smokestack that says Sherwood on it. So distilling used to be here as well. And that nostalgia kind of pulled at my heartstrings a little bit too. So it's a bunch of different reasons. It's I think the town can use a little something different, spice up the town a little bit. There was a culture of distilling here and an economic reliance on it, and we did happen to find a really good space for it. So and the town supports it. So it all kind of fell into place a little bit. And the cool thing is that if you look at the other 2 distilleries in Carroll County, Patapsco and Mount Airy, I actually looked at the map and everything. If we put one in Westminster, and the 2 of them are a little bit south of us, we actually form a triangle, each about 17 miles, which is about a 25, 30-minute drive apart. So now, we have a third point on the triangle. We can now have 3. And then if you overlay the wineries and the breweries in Carroll County, you now see, well, a lot of the wineries and breweries are actually closer toward Westminster than Sykesville or Mount Airy for Carroll County, because Mount Airy has a lot of Frederick County wineries and everything. And so it does start to create a more robust craft beverage tourism scene by having something in Westminster, location-wise, and start pulling some of that money over from some of the other counties, so to speak. So that's kind of why we picked it. A lot of different reasons. Yeah.
You had me at love, right? You moved for love. Yeah.
I moved for love. I moved for love. I'm staying for whiskey.
Okay, I like that. I did want to just suggest, we got a great comment from Abby, which is so true. And we've seen this around, Scott at Patapsco opening up in Sykesville and what that's done to the town. Yes. You mentioned Miscellaneous and Dan and Meg up in Mount Airy, historic Mount Airy. It's amazing what these do. And of course, Frederick is a great story. But you look Eastern Shore, and we're starting to see it pop up. We have a new one coming in Western Maryland in Hagerstown, which is going to be great, right downtown, which, places that are losing businesses, distilleries are going in, and you're right, it becomes an anchor, and other potential business owners say, hey, look, this spot's getting sticky. We see that people are coming and hanging out here for an hour, a half an hour. Why not 2 hours, 3 hours? Let's build a restaurant, coffee shop, baker, whatever.
We did analyze a lot of Maryland tourism data and impact analysis data. And there are lots of stats around, which probably maybe seem obvious to some people. The more you have to do, the more people will stay, right? And so if you're trying to keep people longer or give people a reason to go visit or reason to go and stay and visit and do more things, and the more attractions there are, the bigger the draw. And so we want to add to that for the county. We think they already has some good stuff, but right, we're nowhere near where Frederick County is in terms of their focus on the craft beverage industry and everything. But I think Carroll County has a lot to offer, and it's cool. I mean, I love going to the local bakery and picking up some stuff, and I love that everybody kind of knows each other here. Coming from the DC area where it's a little bit different vibe and energy.
It's a little bit different vibe, yeah.
It really is. This is really kind of nice, and I've always been a person about community. One of the things we're going to do with our distillery is have a philanthropic side to it. So our service offerings are going to be our products, our tasting room for events and everything, but we're also going to do a community service as one of our services. And all of my businesses I own, we always get back to the community big time. And this one will be no different. So we're going to also try to create opportunities and initiatives to also further help the community, perhaps create a product line for a local nonprofit and have all the proceeds go to them, for example, things along those lines. So we definitely want to do more and not just kind of be a fixture on Main Street, but also try to lead by example and do some good for it too. So I'm excited. I've always been a community type person and get really involved with different things. So this is something that I'm really excited about.
So I'm a big fan of distilling history, and I hope if you haven't, you should check in with the folks at Sagamore Spirit who've collected a lot of Maryland, specifically rye history, but distilling history. My guess is that once the word continues to get out a little bit further, there will be people walking into your tasting room who parents or grandparents, or maybe they worked at Sherwood Rye.
Maybe.
And somebody's gonna know what they were doing there, and that it could create a great opportunity. But I just think that embracing that history and with your goal of trying to liberate it from the past, I think that's incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we're very excited about that, and if we can help spread a little bit of history knowledge or chemistry knowledge or some trivia, one of the things we focus on is, educating our customers, and that's something we're also very focused on. When I have my tasting groups, every single event we had, you learn something. It might be one little thing about tequila or one little thing about the region that a particular whiskey is from, but it makes you a smarter drinker, and it makes you somebody who appreciates what's in your glass a little bit more. And it's pretty cool if you know this stuff. You talk to somebody else who's an aficionado, you happen to know all this stuff, and you know what you're talking about. So I think that's something we'll also want to kind of carry on that idea as well in our distillery, is to also help our customers just understand a little bit more about what they're drinking, the history, the science, the art, whichever aspect they want to learn more about.
Well, and I love that you're coming at it with the science background. So, listen, I know that you have to get prepped and worked up and ready for the Carroll Biz Challenge. So, let's wrap it up. And if you could just give everybody not your 5-minute pitch, but your quick pitch about what's in it. What is in store for people who are going to come in a year from now to Carroll County? Just give us the rosy picture.
Rosy picture. Well, as we talked about already, there is a rich history of distilling here in Westminster, and it has since gone away. And that is something we want to bring back to this town and add some more economic energy, so I call it. We want to engage with local businesses and partner as much as we can across the supply chain and with value-added business partners. We want to experiment. We want to be creative and kind of push the envelope and try funky new ideas. We want to experience and have that unique customer experience and give folks something that they can't get anywhere else. We want to educate. We want to provide people with more knowledge about what they are drinking, what they are enjoying. All these things together here in Westminster, the market is good for craft distilling. People want to spend money on experiences. Westminster will, need something that can also add more energy and more excitement. And we want to be part of the craft beverage scene here because we think there's a lot of potential for it. A year from now, we're going to have a space that's completely renovated, a place where you can come and buy a bottle or have a drink, celebrate a special occasion, join us for a nonprofit activity or a road cleanup fundraiser or some things like that. But as I said, Covalent is a bond made through sharing, and that is what we want to do. We want people to connect and bond through something shared. Some of my best memories and best moments in life and my best friends all came about because we shared something together.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a bad thing, could be a cry, could be a laugh, it could be whatever, but we are forever connected, and I will remember that forever, and it shaped me to who I am today, all those different experiences. And that really is the essence behind Covalent Spirits. That's beyond just having a nice drink, but it's really trying to form those bonds and form those connections and have something that is memorable and will live on forever. And we like to put Westminster back on the map for distilling.
Well, Jennifer Yang, I think you've done it. Where do I vote?
So yeah, Carroll Biz Challenge. It is the URL is just Carroll Biz Challenge.
Yeah.
.com. If you go there, they starting at 6 o'clock today. I'm actually going to type it into this. It's a private chat window. Okay, so I just sent you the link for it. If you want to share that, feel free to. It is 6 o'clock. It starts. There are 5 finalists. We each have 5 minutes to pitch. There are 7 minutes for Q&A. Audience can ask questions as well. Like I say, they'll type in questions, and all virtually. The audience is all virtual. But watch, we're the 3rd company to pitch. We're up against a farm that's doing agro-tourism. We're up against a all-female co-working space. We're up against a fog computing company and a strap company, a company that does a strap for your bag that kind of retracts and everything. Cool. So those are the other companies. And 2 years ago, Brewery Fire won this challenge.
And that was a big deal for them.
Yeah, they also won People's Choice. They won both categories 2 years ago. And guess who's one of the judges? Dave.
Well, I hope you've been talking to Dave. That's great.
Well, I have been I have been just from a general industry discussion, not
Good.
from any other type of perspective.
Of course. Well, yeah, and I'm sure you'll have some collaborations with the local breweries and everything else.
Oh, yeah. So, definitely. We definitely want to do that.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. And best of luck tonight. But also, whatever happens tonight, best of luck with the business. And we're here to help. We're here to support. And I'm ready to come buy a pink gin cocktail from you as soon as you're open.
Thank you so much for having us. Tune in tonight. And I do have a Facebook page up for Covalent Spirits. So if you guys do follow social media, please like us, follow us. We'll be posting comments. We do want to kind of document our journey, especially when it comes to renovations. If you want to follow along, we'll do all that kind of stuff. But we're very excited about this. So yes, thank you very much.
Well, good luck to you and Drew. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And everybody who's tuned in, thank you so much. Again, Kevin Addicks with the Maryland Distillers Guild, signing off for today's Thirsty Thursday. Cheers.